Culture and connecting cuisines and cultures across the world are one of the hottest macro trends out there, and 61% actually, so again, with the flavors, are really desiring Latin flavors.
Hello, me folks. Welcome back to the MeatsPad podcast. My name is Francisco Najar, and we continue these conversations with industry leaders here at the 77th RMC, Reciprocal Meat Conference. We want to thank again the MSA for this opportunity again this year. And we contacted our guest today a while ago, and we went back and forth to select a topic. And we want to welcome Brackenridge, and she's the lead for the R&D and Innovation for Cargill Protein. Welcome, Ann.
Thanks. I'm really excited to be here, and the Reciprocal Meat Conference this year, the content and obviously the friendship has already been exciting, and there's more to see.
Yeah, I think I always see you always I don't know, you're probably 5 feet away and I say hi, but I think we never got to actually sit down and talk, and I think this is the perfect moment because it's a topic that, it's maybe a controversy. We talk about maybe social media here in a minute, but I think we can start from the known to the unknown and talk about consumer needs or the current trends that you're seeing at the retail level, and food service. But I think we can start from there about this topic.
Yeah, so first, I just have some fun facts to share. And it's really to help ground us in the trends to really then go deeper into where we should develop products, how we should develop products, and then ultimately supporting technologies that I would like to share with everyone. But first, did you know that 50% of the menus in the U.S. have pickle on it? Why I bring that up is that consumers say they really have a soft spot in their heart for pickles, and that's really what is old is new, because this is one of the hottest trend flavors around fermentation. And go back to your formal education, fermentation is the microbial metabolic process converting sugars into alcohols or gases or acids, and it really develops flavors. And that balsamic vinegar and apple cider vinegar and obviously pickles are some of the hottest trends, and really expect in the menus to grow 17-18% by 2027. So I thought we can kick it off to be a little casual but fun, and then we'll go deeper into the macro trends that really ground where we should develop products.
I like what you mentioned, and I wrote down flavors, and I tie back. How do you identify a population? I guess you get the American people, but you also have some culture differences. How's that work? You mentioned pickle. I've seen products that with pickle flavor, like chips and the kind of that. And you can talk about. We had some of the jacklings with flaming hot and things like are more targeted, and I would say for culture people who like spiciness, and you can talk about Mexico and talk about that. But how does that work? I guess.
I think you were right on. Culture and connecting cuisines and cultures across the world are one of the hottest macro trends out there, and 61% actually, so again, with the flavors, are really desiring Latin flavors. And not only do we see specific flavors, but that the mashup between different cuisines, and so thinking how you can do a Latin flavor but infuse into a comfort, traditional American food. And so social media has definitely been a part of this journey, and thinking of anytime, anywhere, you can get what you want, but you are also able to see on Instagram how individuals are connecting and celebrating with food in their culture. And we always say the most dynamic way to get to know each other is through food, right? You share a lot of stories, but you also get to learn why you're serving and say, why have you served the balsamic vinegar special salad that originated from, whatever country it was meaningful to you. So that's what's been really fun, I think, is how to study the flavor trends and how just in my career it has journeyed from very, what I'd say, traditional and, Italian flavor and Italian foods was very unique, but that has just transformed to, I say, all the bold flavors from all regions of the world because we're so connected.
And I kept thinking, and one big example that I have is the jalapeno, like how the jalapeno has turned into pretty much jalapeno with everything, right? It started with jalapeno and cheese, but you see that flavor on a lot of even if you don't know, sometimes you don't know, but a lot of the products out there have a kind of a jalapeno. I mean, it's people look for that, and I have a funny story because when they started exporting jalapeno to the U.S., the original jalapeno, I mean, it's grown in Mexico and it's very spicy. But it's funny because the flavor of the jalapeno, it's like the habanero. I mean, we like the flavor, but sometimes there's a kick to it. And they have done a good job with the genetics, trying to get the jalapeno flavor or the habanero flavor without the spiciness.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I always make fun of when I go to the store and like, oh, we got some jalapeno poppers, but those are for the American people that they're not spicy. And they're the same flavor without that. So it's kind of funny how a trend has also transformed how we grow food overseas.
Well, and overall the entire supply chain, how the global connection through social media, and then how it has really had that impact. Like you say, it's from the genetics of animals, plants, and all of the way of how we have regenerative ag to grow all of our food, and then how that has been inspired, like you said, to evolve the genetics to get the flavors that is really on demand, and really then how you weave that into the products. And you think about how the Gen Z are really becoming into the kitchen, and that they're the ones like really mashing up, but like you have to follow those trends, and it's very dynamic. Also the thing that is interesting now is how value is defined, and you think of all of the different life stages, and that value can be maybe we want smaller packed items, or the value may be that I'm going to treat myself and go to the retail store and have a specific pepper with a specific cut of meat to mimic what is out in food service. But before, everything was started in food service, and it's still the trends do. However, because of how individuals are defining value differently, about 60% say they're eating out less, and that they really are looking for premium ingredients at retail to treat themselves. And then they are watching all of the different food sources and flavors to make these special dishes at home that have that bold, spicy flavor, and then to celebrate. So it's really been fun to see how these like flavor trends and then take value, which is just on its own trend, just with the different market dynamics, but also how consumers are defining what it means to them.
Has it changed a lot, like especially for new generations, how we merchandise in products today to target those kids and that in 10, 15 years they're going to be parents, right? How has that changed? I mean, if we look at, maybe kind of a more historical data there.
Yeah, I think, again, your questions are great. They really go right into the macro trends. And that is how the evolving household size has changed. 64% of the household size in the U.S. is 1 to 2 people. And so with that, what does that mean that's different now than what? Is they definitely want smaller packages, and that they want that convenience. And with that smaller package, what else is it driving? Is that it's also less food waste. Now, there is definitely the desire for large families, as well as how they define value, to buy large packages of meat and then portion it out and freeze it. Like when you do consumer interviews, they definitely still buy, mini hamburger patties if they're not pre-frozen, and they will go ahead and portion them and freeze to have for later. But even individuals in the smaller households are doing the same because they may see the value. But when I look at the industry of what's changed, it's very cool to think how, you had carcasses, quarters, and then it was really big when we changed in beef to having primals to subprimals. And really now in the grocery store, you can get retail single muscle cuts like the flat iron, petite tender in a package. And that's still, though, that demand versus all of the capital and to be efficient is still challenging for everyone in the industry. But that's the biggest trend I really see that is driving along with convenience, because 1 in 7 meals that people eat are only heat and eat, which I question actually that it's, when I think of our own family, it's more than that, right? Like once every day I heat and eat something that I haven't put a lot of time in preparation. And so the two big things that I circle back of how are products convenient and take less prep and allow to get the needs of the flavors, but also a lot around the portioning size because of what's going on with household. So both household size and convenience.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I have a question not related to the topic, the consumer needs, but I think it's as much as important as this. We had kind of funny, but across the interview that we've done, we've talked about values. We talk about with some assistant professors, associate professors about what is the limit, or what's the limit between the mentee to keep pushing. Like we try to get the best out of somebody. And I wanted to talk, we were talking, I'm from K-State, you graduated from K-State, and very, how's those values that you learned 20 years ago, how do they work with you now? And I guess it's a dumb question. I guess, I don't know.
No, I feel it's very important. And even today at the Reciprocal Meat Conference, we started out with the presentation around branding yourself. And of course, you always take time when you're sitting there in the audience and listening and trying to learn about what are your key values. And I didn't know they were values, but it started as a young child in school. And, I have some memorable moments when I probably, I said I had broken something at home with my parents, and my dad was really instilling about being transparent, telling the truth. But telling the truth is also being transparent. And so I think back that no matter what, I really hold to of telling how it is, being transparent, and that helps individuals. It may be really hard, and I've had, some great mentors who told me some very challenging feedback. However, those were the greatest learning moments. So I believe strongly in transparency and, as I said, telling the truth. The second part that I call a value is, it's overused, but to be kind in a way, meaning that you're transparent because you're helping them, but do it in a manner so that they can learn and not degrade. But again, be truthful with that. And the last is to be very much a listener and respectful, no matter what the situation is. I feel if you live by that, then you build trust and you help everyone and you can learn from each other.
Yeah, and I think there's a very fine line between when it's enough to just keep pushing or not, and I think that's key to learn, because every person is different. We talked about kids yesterday in our so even with the same family, same grad students, they have their own personality, and I guess I guess that's kind of what I wanted to get from you. Because you graduated like 2 years ago. I don't know.
I know. That's what it's been humbling. I feel like some of those days are so clear in my head, and it's been my last degree was in 2003, so just a few years ago.
Just a few years ago. Thank you very much for your time. I think that's one last question that I have for you. What's some of the recommendations for young grad students that they want to follow up on your steps and want to, because I mean you've done an excellent job. Everyone I talk about you like, oh, and she's the best boss, and how do you, what would you tell the people, like a lot of young students that maybe in 2 years are going to be part of the workforce at Cargill or all the big companies? What was key for you? And maybe somebody can relate to that too.
It comes back to what are your values. And no matter what, I grew up in agriculture, and I felt very passionate to always be in agriculture. And then it's very humbling to feed people. Okay. And so I think back when I was in 4-H, even some other activities where I was helping my mom prep food and then helping obviously with livestock. But everything I have done has been around food and feeding people. And then the second part, where you work, where you go to school, you have to be comfortable and you have to fit into that culture. And again, I think it was very well said this morning to reference that you have to be confident and you have to be okay with yourself. We are all unique, and that's what makes us have really a great environment because each of us are unique. The next part that I feel very important is that you take advantage of every experience to the fullest and to learn. It may not be enjoyable, and I reflect on some of the components of different roles I've had, and I really reference around food safety management systems. My personality isn't that rigid when we do the different fun activities of what kind of personality. That's not me. However, that role and how every company has food safety management systems to ensure the safety of our food and the processes so there is regimation, that has taught me the most of how the industry works. And so I'm very grateful, and it was very hard. So as a grad student, when you see maybe tons of data or that you have been told that your statistics aren't right and you have to rerun that, which I had multiple times just because it was not accurately reflecting the experimental design, take that with a pause and thank you for the feedback to then learn, even though it is very challenging. The last piece I say is to take risk, and it's very similar to what I just said about how you take on challenges and learning, is go do something that maybe you never thought you would. I was really a live animal and applied and production processes and meat quality. And I was asked to go into cooked meats, and I was very, very nervous because, again, I felt, I didn't know anything, let's just be clear, and I still, I learn every day from others because that's not my core competency. But because of that, that helped me see the whole industry and improve then how you look at the supply chain. So always take new risks, new areas, because all of that blends in who you are to apply to be great at whatever role you do. So take the experiences, venture out into uncomfortable areas, and then take it on full force to learn. And you'll have a great time. You'll meet great people, make great friends, and overall you'll be able to contribute to what is, part of your heart.
Thank you for sharing that. And that I relate to a lot of that. Like the redo, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's not easy to somebody that took 40 hours or more to do something, and then they present something, and like, man, you have to redo your statistics. You have to redo this. Sometimes the whole experiment.
Correct.
But I think that's where you'll learn, right? Because the easy path is, just present it like that, but you're not doing it the right way. And you'll learn, especially if your direct boss or your advisor tells you that, and you have to redo it again.
Well, it's resilience, right? That's just examples. of roadblocks that are presented, and you have to figure out how to maneuver. Like every day, I said, no matter what job you're in, like, are you looking for funding? Are you looking for talent? Are you looking to how to sell your idea and have the best business case? Nothing's really just a clear path. And so you have to be very strategic and think through, and you leverage those experiences to maneuver to get the outcome that is needed.
Thank you very much for your time.
I really appreciate your hosting this, and that you do this to really share about protein.
Yeah, this turned out to be, sometimes it's meat, but we also have the human aspect, which is very important. And I think I always try to get back to that fundamentals, like do the right thing, those values. And I really appreciate you sharing very insightful
Thanks
thoughts.
for telling the story.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. We continue here at RMC. We'll see you the next time.